Oh, what happened? What happened? Well, what happened is I forgot to plug my laptop in again. Streamer life. When you're running your stream off of 2 laptops, you gotta be careful because you might forget to plug in your laptop that's powering the stream, and the battery just sort of gets sucked to the end and dies right in the middle of when you're saying something important. It wasn't that important, but it is what it is. So if you're seeing this stream recording right now, go back to the channel and look for the previous half of the stream so that you understand the context of what we're doing, because this is not the same stream. This is not a standalone stream. This is a continuation of the same stream with the same name, because I screwed up and forgot to plug my laptop battery. So yes, honestly, the professionalism, ugh. I know, right? Why do you people watch me? I mean, God, like every week it's something. I'm either whining about something hardware related, or I'm doing something stupid and causing problems for myself. But I appreciate all of you being here. I know you're being sarcastic. Schadenfreude. Yeah, it is something like that. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, so don't give me grief about it. I'm not German. I don't speak German. German is a very complex language from my view, so I'm doing the best I can. I can barely say Zettelkasten right, but I'm trying, you know? I'm making an effort here. Okay, so where we were at is managing an entity moving between rooms. So basically removing it from the room they're currently in and adding it to the room that they are moving to. So we're basically at the point where we can test this out. I had to make sure that we're gonna describe the room for the entity, and it seems the code is already there. So let's see if it works. I'm gonna restart the game server. Thank you, LeftPad, for reassuring me that I tried well enough. All right, so we're in a room. I'm gonna type in for north, and it tells me I'm in the classroom. Wow, it worked. Unbelievable. But the thing is, we don't have a link back to the previous room at this point, so we can't go back. So let me go and figure out how we're going to make this work, because we need to have sort of like bi-directional references between rooms. The way to get around this is to have rooms use IDs also of some sort. Okay, so what I mean by that is, instead of passing around actual instances to records, let's see, in Foyer, we have classroom, we have starting room. The easiest thing, not again, what happened? What happened? Don't scare me like that. I want to make sure the stream is still running. Oh, maybe it was just you. I hope it was just you, Big Edie. Okay, good. I'm looking at my battery charging status in Emacs, and it tells me I'm at 5% load, and I have 3 hours left to charge it. But I started off at 2% load. So what it means is that now we're plugged in, the battery is charging while we're streaming, so we're good. All right. So what I was saying is, we can have direct references to the struct instances for the rooms, but we have a problem when we need to do a kind of like a link between 2 rooms, right? So look, exits. To the south, I want it to be the starting room, but I can't do that because the starting room binding hasn't been created yet. So if I can't do that, how is it that I'm going to do this? Well, the one way to do it is to predefine starting room to false. But even that doesn't work, does it? Because at this point, it actually will try to evaluate that value here. So I think that really the only way to do this is to have each room have some kind of ID that could be referenced at runtime, which sounds like a variable binding reference, right? It sounds like something that we already have here, but we do have... We could do a let rec. Maybe. But I don't think the let rec's going to work, is it? See ya, Blinky Bob. Appreciate it. And even with a let rec, we have to do public bindings at some point. A let rec at the top level could have defines in it that work at the top level, I think. Let me think about this for a second. So, the whole point of a let rec, well, okay, so the problem with let rec is that it's really meant for procedures that refer to each other, not expressions that are immediately going to be evaluated at the time that the binding is being created. It's almost like you need to have functions. I don't know, this is kind of weird. Really, the alternative is to have a big table of rooms with a symbol as the key and the struct as the value, and then all exits are specified in terms of the symbol and not the direct binding. That way at runtime they can be referenced, but that would require there to be a procedure in room that we call to define a room. It'd be nice to have a... Oh, we could do that actually. It doesn't have to be a defined public. In fact, it could just be a define room, which is more like a procedure that gets called. Define room with the symbol, like, because I'm not gonna make this a syntax. It's gonna be a normal procedure. Define room, foyer. In fact, that would work. I think that would work. Okay, how about that? Let's go to room. I'm going to create a procedure called define room. Define room. Define public. Define room. Do I want this to be a define star? It needs to have keys. Let's do that. Define star. We're going to export define room. Later, this could be a syntax. For now, it's just going to be a plain procedure. Define room. Key. First of all, ID. I don't really like that, the term ID for that, but whatever. Key, room, name, description, exits, items. Okay, so this define room is going to create an instance of the struct make room, like this one, make room here. We're also define get room symbol to abstract getting the room. Otherwise, we're probably going to have a lot of manual getting rooms logic there. What we're going to do is this live rooms thing is going to take the symbol instead of the room object, like room ID instead. It's going to be room ID. Initializing room. So that's the actor. Initializing room. So it won't be the actor first. We're going to have another define rooms. This is going to be another hash table, I guess. Make hash table, right? So let star. What is the difference between a room and a live room? A room is a struct instance with metadata. A live room is the actor, the actual instance of a room in reality. It's a little bit different. I think that my video is a little bit off sync, if you notice. All right, so room hash v ref rooms room ID, and then this is just going to be room. All right, so initializing room, room name room. Live room has a chat of goblins in it. Yes, Peter. Sorry, Peter. I probably saw you earlier. Didn't say hello to you. All right. Hash v set live rooms room actor. There we go. So we got the room information out. Now inside of the define room, we're going to call hash v set rooms. And it's going to be ID. And then it's going to be... Did you just rename System Crafters Community the Goblins? Yeah, we're a bunch of goblins. That's for sure. Make room. Let's just steal that, actually. All right, so that sets it. We might need to have the ID in make room also. So let's put ID in here as well. ID... ID, room ID, there we go, boom. So now, rooms ID, make room ID, name description. This also needs to be moved to this. I'm gonna stop using this probably, but let's just go with it for now. Sir Salsa says, I like the idea, how about compatibility? Compatibility with what? All right, so there we go. We're setting in the hash set, the room definition based on the ID. All right, there we are. Find room, make room. To do this should be removed, I think. Existing MUD APIs, yeah, I don't really know what that would really entail. All right, so get live room goes based on room ID now. Get exit room direction, sock ref, room exits room. This is gonna be a room ID and room ID. Get live room, room ID. That's all good. That's fine. And then back to the foyer. This is going to be classroom. I'm putting like areas as kind of a namespace on these. Oh, you mean like how can a person play this? It's going to be on a web page, so anybody can go to the web page to play it. All right, so there we go. Name, description, exits. And that's how you define a room. Here we are. Foyer, starting room. We're going to kill that. Now, the connections between rooms become plain old symbols. Foyer, starting room. Foyer, classroom. All right, and we don't even need backticks anymore for this, which is kind of good. All right, there we go. Boom, 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 boom. That has too many. Now, let's rerun. Maybe, oops, I keep pressing it too many times. Maybe it'll work. Syntax violation, invalid keyword, argument, listen, subform, name, description, items, exits of ID. Let's see, where is this syntax error, P syntax? Great job telling me exactly in the code where this is, because I have no friggin' idea what you're talking about. Key ID. EID. Oh, I think I should not put parentheses here. All right, there we go, fine. My mistake, my mistake. Another one. Okay, so he doesn't like my A-lists. And why not? What don't you like about this? Source expression failed to match any pattern in form. It's quoted. What's your problem? Oh, whoops. Define public. My bad. My bad. My fault. All right, there we go. Unbound variable starting room. Cool. So back in, I think, session right here, we need to change this to be a foyer / starting room. Nice thing about that, too, is that we no longer have to pull in the module for the foyer to get to that. We just have to know what the ID of the room is. So that's kind of cool. There we are. Now we're going to restart. We're going to go north. It's going to put us in the classroom. We're going to go south. It's going to put us back in the cozy room. So boom, we can go back and forth between the two rooms, north and south. And what if I try to go, oh, I need to make that pop at the bottom too. What if I want to go east? There is no exit to the E. Okay, cool. So that's a good sign. It's kind of working. What about west? There is no exit to the west. So it's starting to look like a game that you can type commands in and move around in the world. That's great. What else then? What else do we kind of need to see here? Let me think for a moment. I mean, obviously I need to do some work on the the presentation here. We need some styling on this stuff a little bit, especially for errors, but that's okay. We'll deal with that another time if we continue working on this project. So what about the entity that we need to talk to in the room? We haven't done entities yet. Let's think about this for a moment. I think we can do a direct reference to an entity definition. So in fact, even in the foyer class, we can define an entity. Let's check entity. Do I have a record type for that also? Yeah, record type entity. Make entity name, description. Now that we don't really have a way to describe their behavior yet, but maybe we can figure that out real fast. I mean, all we really need is an entity that can respond to a text string. So let's see. Define record type entity inside of foyer. We're going to use module. I saw the syntax error there. Use module Goblin MUD entity. Let's get rid of that panel at the bottom that's distracting. So define, we don't even need to define public. Let's just define it locally. So in fact, we can just define it inside here. Also, we need a way to say what entities are they by default. So exits, items, entities, room entities. But it's not really entities, is it? Because an entity is more of a generic concept. It's more of a it's like an NPC, but what is it really? Like, is it a, do we want to call it NPC? I don't really want to call it NPC. Give me some thoughts. I could say NPCs. How about that? Non-player characters. There's really no problem saying NPCs. All right, NPCs. NPCs. NPC. Yep. Whoa. NPCs. NPCs. Excellent. So now we're going to go over to the foyer. We're going to say in this room, NPCs list. We're just going to define this thing in place because it doesn't matter too much. Make entity. And how are we defining that? Let's see, where's entity? Make entity, name and description. The name is the class clerk. And description, the class clerk sits here, sits behind a desk, waiting for you to choose a class. Okay, there we go. Cool. Ashraz is still using the arrow keys instead of control. And yeah, I had to make myself use those, Ashraz. I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to actually move around in terms of words and expressions and stuff. Like for instance, Control Alt B to go back and forth, and let's see, Control F, B, up, U, and D, and things of that nature. Trying to move around a little bit more efficiently inside the normal Emacs key bindings. All right, so we got that for the entity. Now, what we need to do is when we initialize an entity, sorry, a room, we're gonna have to initialize the entities that are a part of that room as well. Nowhere near as expressive as evil. That's true, Big Edie, but I don't really use it either. So like if I use evil mode, I'm not really using the full set of motions. So it doesn't bother me so much. It's not really a big deal. All right, so let's see. So in room, when we create an instance of a room, we're spawning the room. Inside the room, when we spawn it, we need to see if there are entities to be spawned. So are there entities to be spawned? Popcorn, okay. Are there entities to be spawned? But probably right here we could do like a little map. So let's map over lambda, NPC, and let's leave it like that. So let's do room NPCs room. All right, so that gives us the ability to repopulate the entity list in the room. Okay. Inside of lambda, we're gonna have to spawn an entity. So we're gonna do this via the engine. And that's one thing we don't actually have access to at the moment. So if I go back to engine, engine has a make entity room listener message. So we need to send a message to the engine to spawn that entity and return it back. I mean, technically speaking, we don't have to. We could do it ourselves. I don't really know if there's a benefit to letting the engine do it, or if that was just like a convenience for me, but at least in this case, since we know how to spawn an entity, we can just do it directly. So let's spawn an entity with NPC room, and then listener will be false because this is an NPC, it doesn't have a listener, okay? Or at least not yet. We might actually change that to we might have to change it actually to deal with certain types of events. Okay, so map lambda over that, spawn entity NPC room. That's going to give us a list of actors that represent the NPCs of the room. And now when we describe the room, we should also include, after the description of the room, the list of entities in the room. So we could say div. What do MUDs usually say? Let's do this. And also, I need to go back to the FOIR definition. We shouldn't put periods after the names. We should let the printing of the name dictate that, okay? So we're gonna map one more time, lambda and entity. We also need to make sure that it's not the current entity. So we can do that by filtering on describe room entity. In fact, we could probably do that first. Yeah, we're gonna do it internally. So look, filter lambda entity. No, not entity, E. How about that, E? Now lambda E not equal E entity, okay? So we're basically just filtering out anything that's not that entity. Then this is gonna be entities. And there we go. In this one, we're gonna have to spit out something. So we're gonna spit out a div with a class of entity line, I don't know, and then say something like CRNO. Oh, this is actually not right either. This is going to be the case right there. Okay. Format, false. A is here. And that's going to be... Ooh. Is entity a record? No, it's not a record at this point. So the entity list. I mean, we would have to send a synchronous message to the entity to get the name. So let's go back to entity. Kind of not great, but it should work. Hey, Dave. Yeah, your code, Dave, like, you guys are doing some ambitious stuff over there, okay? I don't know, man. Like, you're doing a whole tile map renderer and everything. Jeez. I don't want to do that. And do goblins at the same time. It's all right. It's going okay. We had to struggle quite a lot to get to the point where we're at now, but it's working now. But we won't probably submit this. We probably won't be able to submit it. Get name. Is this scheme? Yes, it's scheme in Different Ghost. Get name. We're going to return room name on room. In fact, that could just be dropped to a single line. Okay, so that's going to be a get name. Let's see. What is it? Oh. Yeah, this is for entity. You can tell that things are going great right now. More of a tech demo. Well, that's cool still. All right, so back to entity. Is this entity? There we go. Get name. Entity name. Entity. All right. Low on resources this week. Yeah, me too. 100%. We were already here, weren't we? Yeah, something to build on for next time. That would be cool. I might do the same. We'll see. I mean, this is... I would like for this to be a real thing that works. So maybe over time it'll work. E. Get name. There we are. I had to look at Goblinville a little bit to understand better how to write actors for a game. And it was definitely helpful just to sort of take a look at what you did so far on the code. That should show what entities are there. It will only show entities when there are entities to show. So that's good. When we walk into the class room, we should see the entity there now, so long as I didn't do any more syntax errors, and obviously I did. Foyer, unbound variable defined room. I must have had a syntax error somewhere earlier in the code, so let's check that out. I did find it. I was looking for it because I needed help. I needed to look at what you did. Goblin MUD world foyer. That's not enough. Did I have a syntax error in that file? Let's see. Probably did, actually. There's the list. There's make entity. So which one is having trouble? Resolve interface. I think this one is trying to actually load the module. Threads, boot 9. Doing a lot of maps here, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Foyer, line 5. Unbound variable defined room. I think room must have a syntax error. So let's look at check parens. Well, check parens doesn't seem to be convinced that we have a problem here. Let me check everything else. We got their map. We got everything there. Did I change anything else in this file at the moment? I don't think I did. But what about the entity module? Check parens. Check parens. Still doesn't tell me anything. I'm going to have to go into the REPL and potentially try to eval each module individually, because for some reason it's acting like... Oh, it's acting like... Wait. Is that it? Room 29. Room 29. line 29. Ah, yes, NPCs. NPCs, thank you. I did make a mistake. Unbound variable, room 33, NPCs. Unbound variable entity, line 53. 53. I need to have entity in here. Okay, is that a problem? Does entity pull in room? It does pull in room. Engine. Engine does not pull in room. So maybe this is a place that sort of proves that we do need to have that abstraction of asking the engine to spawn the entity for us, so we don't have to touch the actor symbol directly. But even still, yeah, it's fine. All right, so up here, we're gonna pull in Goblin MUD engine for entity. We're gonna do something different. We're gonna pass in engine. Now, when we spawn the room, we need the engine also. Where are we calling get live room? Get live room. We're calling it an entity. Entity does not have a way to reach the engine yet. We call it inside of the room also, the room actor. So we have engine as a parameter that I just added, and get live room engine. This all presupposes that I can't pull in the entity module because they have a they both reference each other. Okay, so I'm trying to avoid that. If you're wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing. Actually, I don't need even engine, do I? I don't need engine either. I just need a reference to the actor for engine. Okay, so if entity is the one that's spawning a room, then it needs engine also. So who is spawning entity? I think only engine itself, which is good. So let me check spawn entity. Oh, come on. Engine and room. Okay, yeah, so that's gonna go away. So it's really just here. So now if I put in this engine as a parameter, then that means that whenever the engine spawns an entity, it will give an instance of itself to the entity, and then when the entity is asking for a room, then it will use the engine to get the room. So that will use the engine to spawn any further entities correctly. So that should be a ward against having trouble there, hopefully so. Possibly unbound variable entity, let me fix that. So there's entity. Wrong, it needs to be in room. Kill that. Let's see, entity right there. Okay, so instead we're going to call into engine, and I think it's called make entity. Make entity room listeners, same parameters, so we're just gonna do this. Make dash entity, NPC room false, and we should be good to go on that. So let's just go ahead and kill that line of comment, and then I'm gonna rerun everything here. And okay, we got a little bit of an error, so we're gonna quickly debug that. So get live room, entity procedure, core, wrong number of arguments. Okay, fine. So what are we missing? If we go to entity and look at what that has in it. Let's see. Okay, give me 1 second, I'm trying to think about... let's see. Sorry, lost my train of thought for a second there. Make entity. I think when I'm calling make entity, as a result, okay, this is the message of make entity. This is going to be an engine. Make entity room and listener. If I go back to spawn entity, this engine, entity room listener. Yeah, let's go to entity again. Sorry, becom entity engine entity room initial listener. So we'd have the right parameters to initialize an entity. Wrong number of arguments for room. Make entity, is that, where are we? Thank you, scopy, for telling me. I'm just trying to think about it a little bit here. We're almost done, as far as done can be. So, local object engine. So, the engine the engine object is the one that's sending us out. So, when we go into engine, we're spawning entity. Entity is throwing an error. Wrong number of arguments. Engine room to room. Where is this happening? Is that happening inside of, entity initialization? So get live room, engine room. Is that what's happening? Okay, I see syscaller spawn, then get live room, engine room. So inside of get live room, if I go to room, get live room. Oh, there it is, right there. Got it. Engine. Okay, I missed that part. Let's redo this. And then got another little error. We'll see what that is. Get live room. Am I in a hurry? Yeah, it's like the end of the stream, man. I gotta go help with the kids because it's bedtime. So let's see. Engine. Give me 1 second. All right, I think I'm gonna have to kill the stream just because I gotta go help with some stuff here. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to make it all the way through, but that's okay because I think we made a lot of progress, and it was fun to write this. I had fun writing a lot of Goblins code. It didn't really, we didn't make enough progress, but I think we've gotten to a point now where at least the core of it makes sense, and we would be able to continue to work on this game. I feel pretty confident that we could get a game out of this. It's just that if I had gotten to this stage of everything probably like 3 or 4 days ago, then we would have gotten at least like a core game loop going where you could walk around in the world and interact with some things, and then feel like you played some kind of game with other people too. We would be able to walk around with other people as well, because the design would enable that right now. It's just we hadn't gotten to that point. So soon we will get back to this. I think that maybe in the next game jam we could look into getting back to this, or maybe even before then. It really just depends on when the Craft Hour streams start back up. So for those of you who didn't hear that before, Craft Hour streams that I was doing on Mondays and Wednesdays are going to be on hiatus for a little bit, partly due to other projects I have to work on, and also because kids are going to be out from school pretty soon here, and it's going to be a little bit difficult. So we'll see when they get to start back. But anyway, thank you all for being here today. Hope that you enjoyed watching this, partially failed game jam entry. Maybe it was fun. It was fun for me. And hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, happy hacking. We'll see ya.